the total attention of every NFL and football fan that has the opportunity to watch these two games. The Commanders are traveling to the link to take on their arch rival. We're going to make them their arch rival tonight. The two beasts of the NFC East, since the other two are not able to participate in this year's playoffs. You have an all NFC East, NFC championship game where the rookie, who is no longer a rookie, who has taken a team by storm, has taken a city by storm, taken the entire DMV, other than Baltimore, by storm, and put their hopes and the dreams of the old Hogs in the early 90s and late 80s on his shoulders. And the Commanders have a shot to go and shock the world. Griff, I done built it up, man. How does Jayden Daniels, Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, and that offense go into Philly and truly, truly shock the NFL world by beating the number one ranked defense in the National Football League?
Well, to answer your question, as far as the offense, how the offense go in there is continue to do what they've been doing. They've already met twice this year. The first time they met, the Eagles won, but we was talking about a young Jalen Daniels, and I don't think they had opened the playbook up to him at that time. But the second time they met, when the Eagles was basically feeling as though that they was, gonna kill him, and they actually had him beat. Old Jayden Daniels came back and hit him up for, I think, 5 touchdowns in that game. So I just think that, man, if he's smart, make sure they cut down on turnovers on the offensive side of the ball, use his legs when he can use his legs. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. Again, I haven't looked at the weather report. I got to look at the weather report, but that's going to be a deciding factor, man. I mean, I know we talk about both of these teams playing. They don't have domes, so they both custom to playing outside. But if you don't think that snow have an effect on the game, I'm gonna tell you, the Rams look like a totally different team when that snow started coming out. They was sitting up there and they was with the Eagles before the snow came down. Once that snow came down, it went to the team that had the better runner. And we both know who has the better runner in this game. And Saquon has had over 140 yards in both games that they played against this year. But for the offense, he gonna need some help from B-Rob. And that's what B-Rob and Eckler gonna have to, touch the ball to be able to extend some drives. They can't afford to be going 3 and outs with the Eagles. That's gonna set them back. They can't get behind the sticks. And Jalen Daniels is gonna probably have to extend some drives with his legs.
Well, we automatically know Jayden Daniels is gonna have to extend drives with his legs. We count that. You already know that the Washington Commanders are going to go for it on 4th down regularly. They went for it on 4th down more than the Detroit Lions did. That stat kind of blew my mind a little bit. Not only do they go for it regularly on 4th down, but they are extremely successful when they go for it on 4th down. So if it's 4th and 5 or less, look for Jayden Daniels to use his legs. The dual threat is always there, no matter the ranking or the ability of the defense. It is just make sure that you have the right play call. Now, you made mention of the running game. Eckler and Rod need to make sure that they contribute as much as possible. I think that is going to be part of the balance that Cliff Kingsbury is looking for, especially early on in the game, to slow the pace of the game down, because both of these offenses are going to be operating purely on adrenaline early on, except for Jayden Daniels. In my opinion, he does not allow the heightened moment to affect him. Coming out against Detroit last weekend in the very first drive, what did Washington do? They went no huddle. No huddle, meaning we don't have time to get caught up in the moment, right? So look for Washington to take that same type of approach on offense. The Philadelphia Eagles are not going to do what the Detroit Lions did, which was blitz Jayden Daniels a lot. Why? Because the Philadelphia Eagles, 1, are not that much of a blitzing team. 2, they have the ability to apply the adequate amount of pressure that they need with that front 4 led by Jalen Carter. And Jalen Carter has shown that he can get to Jayden Daniels, going all the way back in college when Georgia played up against LSU. no matter the type of offensive scheme that you have, he is quick enough as a 330-pounder to get to that quarterback. So Washington has to make sure that their game plan consists of Jayden Daniels either having called run plays in his head to where he knows what lanes he's going to be going through, or having the ball out of his hands in less than 2 seconds. Now, the passing game has that on lock at this point in the season. He did that all game against the Detroit Lions. 2-step drop, 3-step drop, no step drop, getting it out of his hands. Whether it's a wide receiver screen, a quick slant, a dig route, an out route, or a fade, back shoulder fade to one of the wide receivers, McLaurin or another. So Washington is going to be able to score on this number one defense. This game is going to be a nail biter. How do the Philadelphia Eagles offense, led by Jalen Hurts, the $252 million quarterback, all of the talk has been Washington is going to focus on Saquon. All of the talk has been Washington is going to make Jalen Hurts use his arm to beat them. All of the talk has been if Jalen Hurts gets out of the pocket, we're going to try to ensure that he feels the effect of the Washington Commanders defense. How does Jalen Hurts ensure that if Saquon is not as successful early on in the game, because you can't bottle him up the whole game, but you can definitely affect how effective he is early on in the game. If Philly relies or has to rely on the arm of Jalen Hurts because for some reason Jayden Daniels has instant success and Washington jumps on top by 2 scores, how do we mix both the passing game and the running game to ensure that Saquon stays interested? But how does Jalen utilize those 2 receivers that he has against the Washington Commanders defensive backfield led by my man coming out of NOLA?
So if I'm the Eagles, everybody got to have what Mike Tyson say. Everybody got a plan until they get hit. So the Commanders gonna have to show me that they can stop Saquon before I even worry about that. I mean, don't think that they don't have a game plan in place. True. But everybody know who getting the ball. They didn't know this all year, and yet the guy go over 2,000 yards rushing. So which means everybody had a game plan. We're gonna shut Saquon down. If he can't run the ball, you get Saquon involved in the passing game with the short passes or whatever. Check down if they bring people in. As much as we give Jalen Hurts the business because he ain't really put up that many numbers, but why do I have to when I got a guy over here again rushing for 200 yards in games? It's like, do I shoot a 3-pointer or do I take the layup? Which one I got a higher percentage? Until they force me to have to throw the ball to A.J. Brown, until they force me to have to get the ball to Devontae Smith or to Goddard, why should I? When all I got to do is hand the ball. And Jalen Hurts, let's not get it twisted now. He's dangerous with his legs too. He's been trying to be somewhat of a quarterback. We just seen him run a 71-yard touchdown last week on a scramble play. So Jalen has the ability, and this kid's squatting 700 pounds, bro. You know, that's another reason why the tush push is so successful when other teams can't run it, because he got that leg power. So I done seen him get hit. Jalen is that guy. I'm looking forward to watching this game, but I just think if they stop, they gonna figure out a way to get the ball in Saquon's hands, be it short screens or check downs. Saquon is still gonna touch that ball, and the Commanders is gonna have to prove to me that they can stop it.
Yeah, no. Saquon is definitely going to be an integral part of the game plan. He is the game plan until, like you said, you stop him, and then you force me to change. Now, I've been saying that the Philadelphia Eagles are the most talented team because they are the most talented team. And we have mentioned once or twice throughout the football year that if there is a spot where you can look and kind of dissect and say, well, are we 1,000% confident? It would be the year that Jalen Hurts has been having. Now, lest we forget how he performed the last time he was in the Super Bowl. where he outperformed the greatest quarterback of all time.
He sure did.
His team just came up on the short end of the stick, right?
Defense.
So Jalen Hurts is that dude. I've just been pressuring him or questioning why has the Philadelphia Eagles not included the passing game as much as they should. No knock against how they have managed the team, and Saquon is all world. He is the best running back in the league this year. But when you have all of those weapons available to you, you have to make sure that you keep using them so that they don't become rusty or they don't become disgruntled. I saw in the comments that Fred said that the Commanders are going to win by 10. That is a huge, huge, huge leap out over your skis there, good sir. I do not see the Commanders going into Lincoln Financial Field to just hang 40 on the Philadelphia Eagles like they did against the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions defense is not the Philadelphia Eagles defense. The Philadelphia offense has much more weapons available to them than the Detroit Lions offense, in my opinion. So this game is not going to be a repeat of what we saw last weekend, but it is going to be an interesting game where you're going to be on pins and needles depending on who you are pulling for. There is no guarantee. There is no upset because, as Griff mentioned, Philadelphia took care of business at home. The Commanders came back from a huge deficit when they were in Landover, Maryland. The Eagles are favored in this game as the home team. The Eagles are favored by 6 as the home team. I do not believe that the Eagles cover the spread. I think this is going to be a one-score game where it's 4 points or less, possibly 2 points or less, as to who is going to be the victor in this game. But Griff, who do you have winning this game and why?
I think it's going to be a turnover that determines this game. And I have to get an edge to the home team. I already know, I'm going to be honest, the Washington Commanders are the team that's going to be running the East for a few years here. I see it. But I just think that with the experience that the Eagles have on that side of the ball, I have to give it to the Eagles winning this game. And Fred said the team that scores the most points win, and he can guarantee that.
That's what I'm talking about, Fred. Hey, that was some serious MDMC right there.
MDMC. But he ain't lying, man. Ain't no cap there. The team that scored the most points win. But honestly, I think the home team is going to take this game. I think it's going to be a very good game. I just think for the Commanders to win this game, they're going to have to be turnover free and take advantage of opportunities if the Eagles give up some turnovers. But I got the Eagles in this game by a field goal.
Yes, sir. Okay. So taking your analysis that Philadelphia by a field goal as the home team because of the experience that they have both on offense and defense. Fred's astute MDMP analysis that the team that scores the most will win this game. You said something before I go to that, but you said something that the Commanders will be running the NFC East for the next few years. And I will not only agree with that, but let me add on to the reason why I think it is going to be. Jayden Daniels is head and shoulders above the rest of the quarterbacks in the NFC East at this point in his career. As it pertains to performance, as it pertains to the level of responsibility that he bears on his shoulders and the delivery of that responsibility, the return on investment, so to speak, right? Not the payment, not how much he's getting paid, but on the field performance. He has had the best rookie year ever, but just looking at quarterback play, take injury aside, he is the guy. Now, Washington still doesn't have a complete team yet, right? Do you have a passing game to where you have that number one? Yes, you do with McLaurin. Do you have a number two? Yeah. Do you have a number three? Maybe sort of. I don't know. Do you have a run game that you can truly depend on? No. You have a makeshift run game where you have two quality backs, but not two game breakers. You have a coach in Dan Quinn who is still putting together a system or trying to place his imprint on the type of team that he's trying to build. You had a rookie quarterback who has turned the team completely around and taken the East by storm. So I agree with you that the Eagles, or not the Eagles, but the Commanders are going to be right there with the Eagles next year for the NFC East title. Now, as it pertains to this weekend's game, I would have to agree with you that the Eagles are the better team. I definitely agree that the Eagles are favored. But I'm kind of
hey man, hey, you ain't got nothing to lose unless you put some money on it, man. I mean, I left this out because it's not so much the two offenses that made me sway. I just think the Eagles have a better defense. The Eagles have a better defense. This is not the Detroit Lions. The Eagles can get to Jalen Daniels with that front four. I mean, they missing Young. One of their defensive tackles is out for hamstring, but I still think that's what's going to be the deciding factor. It's going to be the defense, and I just think that the defense is going to prevail in this game.
You know, you're absolutely right, and you also made mention that for the Commanders to have a legitimate shot, they have to play mistake-free football. And they are going to make one or two mistakes, but so will the Philadelphia Eagles. And I would go with the Eagles because they're the home team and because they have a better defense. But that kid, Jayden, he has something. He has something. And because of that, I believe that the bigger the game, the bigger the show up, the bigger the performance, the bigger the delivery for Jayden Daniels in his rookie year. And I think he can pull it off. I think he shall pull it off. I think the Washington Commanders are going to go into Lincoln Financial Field and shock the world and send the Philadelphia Eagles into an offseason of despair with another year of Super Bowl expectations. They expect to be there, but they're going to be some pissed off people in the city of brotherly love because the Washington Commanders shall upset you.
It would be a significant emotional event. But let me say this too, Drew, getting back to what you was talking about as far as the Commanders. Not only do they all the things that you said, but Jalen Daniels is going to be on a rookie contract for the next couple of years, bro. So all those pieces that you said that they missing, guess what they can do? They can go get them.
Because receivers are going to want to go play for him.
Yeah. The things that they doing right now without having all those key spots, just imagine just like the San Francisco out there with Brock Purdy. They was able to put the team that they put on the field because Brock Purdy was on a rookie contract and they had money to spend. The Eagles, they definitely got a great GM or whatever, but hey, it's win this or you're going to see a team and the Eagles being broken up. I promise you right now, because it's already issues within that organization as we speak. So this will be the tipping point right there because hey, we've already been here. We done this. Only thing that the Eagles can do at this point, if people want to stay on that team, is win the Super Bowl. So they can't afford to lose this game this weekend. The Commanders have nothing to lose right now. They have nothing to lose and everything to gain.